electrical, mechanical, and to a vast extent the chemical properties as well. So the very character of the material has changed, and definitely you will create wonderful materials. In electromagnetics there is something called metamaterials. Again, it's related to this, where you know the mu and epsilon, the permittivity and permeability becomes negative. So that means a ray of light incident on a medium which is converging will see it as diverging. It's a phenomenon, and they are exploiting in the electromagnetic or the RF domain. So therefore, it is only when the conducting areas, physicists will tell you that when it reaches to 100 angstroms, 10 to the power of minus 8, then phenomena such as quantum effects, electron tunneling, limit its this one. So it's not possible. Therefore, in the lab settings, to be frank, researchers are already at the brink of this limit at 30 angstroms. And a decade remains before this could be commercialized, and you will be able to utilize as applications for certain tools or devices which you may be using. So therefore, it is end. So the left out space, as I once again knock, is basically the software engineering, and it will propel to search and research the software engineering domain to reconsider the manner in which it should do. And how it will do, I will give you a small snapshot of the programming beyond 2012. And the final verdict, next. Final verdict, why still we will not be able to accomplish it? If I ask you, what is the final speed of a computer? What is the final speed of a computer which you can get? This is the final. Why it will not exist? If we give that E represents the electron, and if C is the convention for the light, so the speed at which an electron travels in a lattice is almost at the speed of light, right? And the electron packing density in silicon is limited to 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. That is the distance between the two atoms. Physicists call it as the interatomic distance. That's the distance between the two atoms. Now consider, if we want to find out the ultimate speed of a computer which is made of silicon, and it is limited to and each atom is a functional element. Let us assume a hypothetical situation. Then in that case, the speed would be distance traveled by time taken. That is, the distance is the interatomic distance, 10 to the power of minus 9 meters, divided by, say, 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second, or 10 centimeters per second. And if we reduce or remove 3 for orders of magnitude, then in that case, the switching speed S comes to 10 to the power of minus 17 seconds. Invert this, you will get the frequency of your processor. 100 gigahertz processor, 8 megahertz processor, 386 processor, so on. So that means what people generally do, and we know about, is you increase the clock speed, the frequency, the microprocessor becomes dizzyingly faster. And then you are very happy, but you don't forget that the power consumption as well has increased so a lot. And then we are talking about green IT and green power. So there are only 3 things: power, speed, and silence. Anyway, so the limit comes to this one. So assuming that mu p is an arrangement of switches, and assuming that the time to switch a bit from 0 to 1, if we talk in the digital language, is equal to the time it takes for light or the electron to travel from one atom to the another in the silicon crystal comes to 10 to the power of minus 17 seconds, and invert this, we'll get the frequency of the processor, and then divide this by 1 MIPS mark, that is 1 MMIPS mark which I am talking about. That will give you the ultimate speed, which comes to 10 to the power of 11 MIPS. Next. Now, the fundamental question here is, can a computer be constructed by using a single switching device? As I defined you, a microprocessor or a computer is nothing but a generous and engineered combination of switches. Now the question to you is, can a computer be constructed using one single switching device? And in that one single, can it understand this huge task of algorithms which you want to do or work? For example, you may have a flower bracket, 6, a square bracket multiplied, and this one and that one and log and this, all this. Can you do that whole math in one single switch computation? You can't. So therefore, it is said that useful computation, in order to arrive at a result, needs at least, if we average it, to some average number of switching elements. Yes? So therefore, let us assume that we need E switching elements. E is the number of average instructions per second. Sorry, not per second. Average instructions which are needed in order to perform a given mathematical or solve a particular mathematical equation. Then in that case, the supercomputer which we are talking about is limited to the number of switching elements necessary in order to complete one single whole monolithic computation. I repeat, in order to accomplish the task of this many functions or this many parameters or this equations completely, you have to have E number of switching elements. So if you go there, the speed 10 to the power of 11 is divided by E, which is nothing but your supercomputer is further reduced. So therefore, the bottom line, that the single microprocessing element, for a single microprocessing element or a chip, it cannot complete the task, particularly when huge computational capabilities like DNA sequencing, etc., or biological computing, etc., is required. It is not possible. It needs something else. And that something else envisages the fact that this technology is no more the right technology to pursue. There are billions and billions of scattered resources, directionaries, databases of information across the net. And if I want to find out something in the 21st century, people will spend less time searching and more time finding. And during this time, your simple machines cannot do. Particularly those who are familiar with the FEM or the electromagnetic analysis of the distribution of signals, you will find that you give the optimization today, it gives you the result after 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. And the era of microprocessor and the systems at which they are functioning, 1 hour is so much of delay. So therefore, the present systems, computers, they really cannot give you that what you are expecting. So thus, what we have here is much more powerful, and to get to that level and capability needs to bring in a paradigm shift. Organic computers or biology. This is a computer, big one. You can't imagine the unimaginable. Anyway, so the idea is that this is not possible. Next, there is another slide. The question comes, so how many switches are needed? As I've already explained, that it's very difficult for me and you to have a colloquial across the table and find out how many switches are needed, because it may not be really logical. Because depending on the type and nature of the problem, the type and nature of the computations has its own way, because those algorithms and things are fixed and fit. You can't do much about it. Next. So, we just briefly stop there. We take it on to the next slide. Now, this is a slide which actually shows you that with each advancement in technology, how many transistors which function as switch are embedded into the processor technology within the given real estate or that frame. So how much of transistors you can embed within a given millimeter of area is what the technology of miniaturization is all about. Right? As I said you, the maximum we can do is one atom is one functional switch, and that limits to the crystal structure itself. Yes? So therefore, we will try to find out the time when each switch becomes one atom and it becomes equivalent to that of the crystal itself. And that time, if you see, next slide, that time if you see, next. If you see, then according to these famous laws and predictions, it hits 2006. And even if we are off by a factor of 10, which is 2013, don't take the years wise, it's as per calculation. So that hits the timeline about 2013. So by 2013, the chip's real estate would have vanished. Why? Because every atom which is embedded in the lattice is a switch. Can you have more transistor embedded beyond that switch number of atoms? You can't. Why? Physics will not permit you, because I said you that by addition of other elements into the structure will change the very characteristic of the structure itself. It may no more be semiconductor. Physicists will know this. As I said you, when you are trying to exploit and explore the dimensions of nanotech, at that point in time you are actually playing with the atoms. And so, its character will change, its conductivity will change, its permeability changes if you are talking in the parameters of physics or electromagnetics. So therefore, the chip's real estate will vanish by 2013, and you are already seeing it, that today microprocessors are no more used, are no more needed. These devices which have ASIC and ASP, that is application specific standard product, right? They can be used, they are nothing but microprocessing devices which has the agility and the compatibility of a microprocessor. Why? Because it consumes less power, it consumes less space, it is more faster than the microprocessor. The TMS 306061 T6 for DSP signal processing, right, where forward error corrections was to be done, and the same was used by Intel's microprocessor. It was discovered that this was 150 times much faster when it was processing a DSP chipset. as compared to the conventional microprocessor. But this, it has its own problems because you cannot